You're welcome back, and many thanks for staying. Let's now go over to Parliament, where the minority are having a press conference there. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is a parliamentary correspondent. He's there now, joins me on the telephone line. Hello, Gakpo.
Good afternoon to you.
Good to have you. What's happening? What are they saying that they haven't said already?
Well, they've been making a number of claims. For example, the minority leader has been indicating that when it comes to the fall in the value of the city, they had huge expectations that the budget that the finance minister delivered yesterday would have helped provide some directions on how the economy would be managed in a way to avert a further free fall of the city. He's been quoting some statistics to indicate that the value of the city has fallen over the last 1 month in the Akufo-Addo administration by up to 6%. And they were expecting the budget that was delivered yesterday to provide some direction on how this would be dealt with, but they didn't see that. It leaves them, somehow disappointed. They again indicated that the NPP promised that when it comes to the issue of the financial scam in the Brong-Ahafo region, that affected customers of the DKM company, the NPP had indicated that one way or the other were going to provide some relief for the victims and help provide their money for them. They didn't see that either. That's one area where they find disappointing once more.
I see. It's interesting. Have they not spoken about free SHS?
Well, they mentioned the issue of free SHS, indicating that they have heard about the figures that are being put out to help finance that particular policy, about $400 million US, and they think that that amount will not be enough to cover the entire free SHS policy as has been announced by the NPP that they will roll out. They are putting up a figure of 3.6 billion cedis that they would be needed to implement the free SHS policy every year. And so they think that the 400 million cedis that the finance minister is announcing would not be enough. They think that the NPP has already broken its promise to Ghanaians when it comes to the issue of the free SHS policy, because they had been given the impression that with that, once the next academic year begins, every student in school would be able to benefit from the policy. But now, government is indicating that only first years would be benefiting from that. Another indication of a promise that they make, which they've broken already, with only 2 months into the administration.
What about the tax cuts? I mean, they've labeled the entire budget as a 419 and deceptive and populist, etc. What are they saying about the tax cuts?
Well, on the tax cuts, as we've heard from them already, they've made the point that it's something that will not exactly help the economy. But Ato Forsen, who is the minority spokesperson on finance, today at the press conference, in responding to questions, brought an interesting perspective to that. He indicated that when it comes to the capping of taxes on spare parts, there was a research that was conducted when they were in power, which indicated that when it comes to overused vehicles and their presence in the country, a lot of that goes through the spare parts, and a lot of that come out of the Aboso kind areas. And the use of the overused vehicles and the exhaust that they put out has some level of health implications, and it affects the health of people with the exhausts that are that come out of that. He make the point that the scrapping of the taxes would encourage more of that when it comes to the use of overaged vehicles, and he's predicting that that would have very huge health impacts on the population, because the scrapping of the taxes would encourage the importation of more of said spare parts, and it would encourage the use of overused vehicles, and that would end up affecting the health of the people. And so they are very much concerned about that. And he also indicated that would again encourage the smuggling of some of these overused, spare parts out of the country to neighboring countries, and in the end would end up affecting the economy of the country. One other thing that the minority leader, Haruna Iddrisu, made reference to has to do with the dismissal of a number of public officials since the NPP administration took over. He has been indicating that per the contract that they signed, they are supposed to be given 3 months notice before their dismissal. And so the decision to dismiss them right away, and some of them being asked to leave on the same day that letters are handed over to them, is illegal. And so the expectation is that per the laws of the country, going forward, any such officials who may be dismissed should be given that 3 months notice before they are booted out of office.
That's very interesting. Are they done with that presser, or is it something that is still ongoing?
Well, they are responding to questions from members of the media. The minority leader himself has finished his address to the media, and they are right now responding to questions. But one other interesting thing that he raised when he spoke had to do with the indication by the finance minister that there would be divesting some assets of the country as part of ways to raise funds or and help the economy. Well, he says that the finance minister hinted that they would be doing that divestiture. He makes the point that during the regime of the NPP in the past, they've seen a number of companies being sold, like Ghana Airways Company Limited and also Ghana Telecom being sold. They are demanding that specific details on the assets in question that the finance minister intends divesting are disclosed as soon as possible in the interest of transparency. He's been drawing attention to the disclosure again by the finance minister that the Vote Tariff Authority and also the GRADECO would be listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. He's demanding clarity from the finance minister if those are the assets that he has hinted may be divested going forward, and they, as parliamentarians, would want some further clarity on those.
Okay. We do also know, before I let you go, that something happened in Parliament today. The deputy ministers, names of 10 regional deputy ministers were presented as well. But then the Speaker had a very interesting point to make as well about when they're going to get a list of cabinet ministers. Is there anything more you can share on that?
So that list of the 10 deputy regional ministers in the letter from the President to the Speaker was read to members of Parliament. In fact, subsequent to that, the majority leader of ATM Mensah hinted that when it comes to other deputy ministers, we can expect that sometime early next week, the list of other deputy ministers will be brought to the House as well, so that can be expected. On the bit about the concern having to do with cabinet ministers, Haruna Idrisu, who is the minority leader, quoted portions of the Constitution to indicate that per the requirements of the law, the government is supposed to submit a list of 10 to 19 cabinet ministers to the House, which he has not seen, and as far as he is concerned, has not been brought to the House yet. The majority leader of ATM Mensah indicated that this is something which is usually a convention, and so it's not exactly, rooted in law, and so it's not something that they can expect of the president. Eventually, the Speaker, Professor Michael Quay, gave a firm directive that he's expecting the majority leader of ATM Mensah to ensure that he makes this particular list available to the minority leader and other members on the minority side, so that then they will declare their minds on who the 19 cabinet ministers are among the list of ministers that the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has appointed.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, our parliamentary correspondent, and those are pictures from the minorities press conference held in Parliament today. Basically, they're talking about the budget and some issues that they're raising. They touched on the DKM, of course, which you didn't hear anything about in the budget. But speaking of Abossey and what has been done for them, President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Bahmudu Bawumia have joined the Muslim community in Abossey as part of activities marking Ghana's 60th anniversary. Lateef Idrisu is there, joins me now on the phone as well. Hello, Lateef. Hello, Lateef.
Hello, Gifty.
Good. What do we have from your end?
Yeah, you just hit the nail right on the head. Today is a day for the Muslim community to say a special prayer for the country as we mark the 60th anniversary. And today the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the Vice President, Dr. Bahmudu Bawumia, all came there to join in the prayers where we had the Muslim community led by Dr. Nuhu Sharubutu read or recite the entire Quran, after which a prayer was said for the nation as we mark 60 years anniversary. Right. Now, the Vice President, Dr. Bahmudu Bawumia, has been saying a few words after the recitation of the Quran. Now, he says the first budget of the Akufo-Addo-led government, as presented by the Finance Minister on Thursday, has vindicated the MPP and the President as they work towards fulfilling promises they made in the run-up to the 2016 general election. We can take a listen to what the Vice President had to say.
Right.
and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Alhaji Dr. Osman Nuh Sharbatu, the President of the Council of Zongo and Muslim Chiefs, Sheikh Abdul Tahir Kader, the Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development, the Minister for Local Development, the Second Lady, Imams, Chiefs, Ulama, Jama'a, Salamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This is indeed a day that we are so thankful to Allah for. This is a day that we are saying prayers to commemorate Ghana's 60th anniversary. There were so many people who fought for the independence of Ghana, and all Ghanaians from all walks of life yearned for this independence and fought for this independence. Our forebears who fought for this independence, most of whom are not with us today. May Allah have mercy on their souls. But the fight for the vision that they had at the time of Ghana's independence continues. On 6th of March 1957, Ghana was born, the Black Star of Africa, and the vision of the founding fathers was for a shining star of Africa to lead in the economic development, political development of the continent. We all know we've had challenges through these 60 years, but we thank Allah for keeping Ghana together in peace and in harmony. And I think there's nobody who has followed Ghana in the world who can deny that Ghana is a beacon today of stability and democracy on the African continent. For that alone, we thank Allah for making that possible. It was one of our former heads of states, General Achampong, who said, or his government, which said that we are one nation, we are one people, we are one destiny. We have one.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. Latif is still on the telephone lines with me. Latif, following what a lot of the people at Bosokai have hailed and started calling the President the Messiah yesterday, it's interesting to know, it'll be interesting for us to know how they received the team today. Yeah,
give to you right with that one as well. We had lots of the spare parts dealers who came around to catch a glimpse of the president. I'm sure they had in mind to ambush the president of a sort, but the security detail didn't allow that to happen. But they were there to show appreciation of yesterday's budget as is directly impacting their businesses. They were there in their numbers to show appreciation. Now, the president, when he took his turn to address the Muslim community, called on the National Chief Imam to continue to say prayers for him as president, the vice president, and the nation as a whole as they work towards fulfilling the promises they made to the Ghanaian public in the run-up to the 2016 general election. We can take a listen to what the president has to say.
His Eminence, the Chief Imam, Ministers of State, President of the Muslim Chiefs Council, Jama'a, Salam Alaikum. We are on the eve of the 60th anniversary of the founding of our nation. So our first task is to thank the Almighty God that all the troubles and difficulties that we have gone through, that He has brought us to this day, that our nation stands together in peace and unity 60 years on. I want to express my gratitude to the Chief Imam for organizing these prayers to thank the Almighty for Ghana. My words are very few. The Vice President has said all that needs to be said. Let us continue to stay as one. Different peoples, different religions, different beliefs, but united all as Ghanaians. And united in our vision of developing our country as a free, prosperous nation that is governed according to the rule of law, in which human rights are respected. That is the vision of the founders of our nation. And it is the vision that we have to continue to realize in our times. On this time, I pray that the Almighty not only continues to bless our nation, but continues to give wisdom and strength to those of us whom He has appointed to guide the affairs of our country. I seek from Him the Almighty wisdom, strength, compassion, and courage to do the right thing to all manner of peoples in Ghana without ill will or malice and without favor to anyone. I want to end up by thanking the Chief Imam again for his leadership in our country. He's one of the most prominent spiritual forces in Ghana, and long may he continue to live and help our country.
Definitely, President Akufo-Addo there. Latif, we understand that you finished with this particular program and you're back at the Flagstaff House. What's happening there?
Yeah, Gifty, we are right back at the Flagstaff House where some few donations have come in for the Ghana at 60 celebration. We have some few donations that have come in for the anniversary as we are all working towards capping that event come Monday. So we will keep our viewers updated on the event that's happening here.
Thank you very much. Latif Idris is there with those reports and, of course, they're telling us about what's happening in the Flagstaff House right now.